Hello everyone, welcome to the channel at Mountaineer. Thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Seth, and there's one thing that I wish to talk about real quick, and that is my thoughts on how the Victorinox Mountaineer will be the best EDC candidate for an official Alox option. Okay, and this all started because I was thinking about my Victorinox Pioneer X, and I've taken it this week to work, and because I've done a lot of little dinkering and tinkering on some of the systems that I work on, just a lot of basic stuff, nothing super complicated or intricate, and I realized just how useful it was just to have the robustness of a lot of these tools, right? Because you have mainly these tools, right? The 2-in-1 here, right, which is your 3mm Phillips, and then your can opener, and then of course this guy was the other one that I used a decent amount, the 3-in-1, right? The flathead screwdriver, wire stripper, and bottle cap opener, right? So a lot of those tools I tended to use a lot, and then I occasionally used the reamer on a few little functions that I had to deal with this week. Okay, so those were mainly the three tools that I used this week. Oh, actually, I did use one more right here. I did use the scissors here. Okay, I used all of those 4 tools, okay? And it made me think that when I'm not at work, a lot of the times I like carrying my Mountaineer just because it has a file on it. Particularly if I'm not in a situation where I'm able to carry my, say, Swiss Army Ranger, which has my the same style file on it, right? This file right here, right? Okay. Because it has it's your 4-in-1 capable file, right? You have your single cut, cross cut, micro screwdriver, and your impromptu impromptu metal cutting saw, but you could also use it for cutting softer materials as well. Okay, so all that aside, I just was thinking about how it would be nice to have an Alox version of that, right? And it just got me to realize just how ingenious in its own right the Victorinox Mountaineer truly is, because it stands as one of the most well-balanced Swiss Army knives ever made in regards to a well-balanced EDC toolage for the variety it offers, both in design and the plentiful of practical uses that you can get out of it. It offers a perfect middle ground between everyday utility and preparedness without feeling bulky or overstuffed, right? And that can be very much demonstrated in the tool set, right? So you have your 2-in-1, 3mm Phillips driver and your can opener. Okay, you have your 3-in-1 like we discussed, right? You have your flathead screwdriver, bottle cap opener, and wire stripper. Okay, aside from that, you have your scissors. Okay, and then you have your signature file. If I could pull this guy out. Okay, you have your signature file there, right here. Okay, and then of course you have in this case, you have your 2 blades right here. I'm trying to do this so I don't cut myself. Okay, and then you have your large blade. It's like I'm playing roulette with myself. Try not to cut yourself. Okay, just so many of you guys see the tool sets that I have here. Okay, I'll try to make it so you can see it a little more. There we go. See if we can. There we go. That's about as good as it's gonna get. Okay. Okay. So let's move these out a little bit. Move it down. Okay. So unlike many other models that either sacrificed certain levels of their versatility for compactness or tend to overload the frame with an excess amount of tools, right? The Mountaineer hits that rare equilibrium, that rare balance. It's as comfortable in your pocket as it is capable in your hand, equipped with an array of core tools like a large and small blade, scissors, your screwdrivers that you have here, right? Also, your can opener, okay? Oh, and then of course, oh, I forgot the other tools here. My apologies. This one's a plus scale, so I won't pull everything out, but you have your corkscrew, and of course, parcel hook, if I can pull it out. Ouch. Here, let's do this, just because it's getting harder to pull out. We'll use this guy to pull it out. Okay. If I can pull it out here, we'll see if I'm able to do it. My apologies for the, here, let me do it over here. Let's see if I can pull it out this way. There we go, got it, okay. Wow, there we go, okay. That was a chore and a half, but I'm glad there was no, okay, so there we go. Okay. All right, sorry for the delay a little bit. Okay, so anyways, with all the tools that it's essentially equipped with, right, it gives the users a more refined and innovative EDC experience with what I consider a clutter-free configuration of tools that handles most tasks with a certain level of easiness that is, well, that requires very little effort. It's a knife that feels intentionally curated rather than crammed with features, embodying the kind of simplicity that makes your reach day after day that much easier. Where the Mountaineer truly shines is in its well-balanced and carefully chosen toolset across a large variety of important EDC settings. Say from as simple as the office to the outdoors, the Victorinox Mountaineer is equally useful for the hiker trimming cordage, some simple rope or cordage, long distance traveler tightening a loose hinge on a bike or whatever mode of transportation he's using, okay? Or to the homeowner doing a simple maintenance task or do-it-yourself projects with your children. Which bring me to my story, okay? So about 3 days ago, my son said he wanted a large sword. And being somebody that goes through a lot of cardboard around this house, I was able to find a large piece of cardboard and cut it in the shape of a sword. And of course, him and his brother, they played with each other and played swords. And you can imagine cardboard doesn't last very long when it comes to its robustness. And so it started folding over and curving. And he asked me if there's a way that I can make it stiffer. And since I have a lot of wooden dowels around here, what I did was I just used the file here, the metal file, particularly the metal cutting part, right? Okay. To slowly cut around in a circular fashion certain dowels the length of the sword body, and just taped them in place, right? So I basically used my file and I used my scissors, right, for the whole task. And he thought that was the coolest thing, that I figured out a way to, you know, just with a couple dowels, make the sword extra stronger, right? And it's just little things, right, like that make the Mountaineer very useful, right? Because the addition of that metal file and saw make for unique and innovative problem-solving moments that often surprise people and just catch people's eye. You know, because being able to use your critical thinking and innovative thought process, right? That part of your brain in a variety of just do-it-yourself settings ensures that the Victorinox Mountaineer's efficiency without any good grief, I can't talk. Without any momentary compromise will always be the best exactly when you need it. And that's what makes the Victorinox Mountaineer not just great and pocketable choice, but arguably one on the plane of most perfectly balanced Swiss Army knife multi-tools, one of the best, in my opinion, ever made. Okay, just because if you think about the practicality that's behind it and the uniqueness behind it, you could do a substantial with it, and that's why I love it so much. Okay, and then here's where my unique thought comes in, okay? Since I've done my best to try to establish well that the Victorinox Mountaineer is comprehensively the best as it stands as one of the most well-balanced and refined Victorinox Swiss Army knives ever produced, right, with its functionality and elegance, then also it would be appropriate to say that having a very specific upgrade, I think it would put such as being in the Alox, getting an Alox upgrade, would put the Victorinox Mountaineer on a whole new level, to where not many other Victorinox Swiss Army knives would even reach such new heights of competition. Just think about it for a minute, okay? Think about just the general tool set, both small and large blades, right? And of course, you already know what the can opener and bottle cap opener both look like. A lot more robust, just that whole precision metal file / saw, right? And essential back tools. Well, in this case, right, you would exclude the back tools if you did that. Even that, it would make it incredibly versatile without overwhelming the user in the least, right? Such as something as, the Pioneer X, which came from the Victorinox Climber, right? Okay. And yet, despite its nearly perfect lineup, it remains bound by those traditional Celador scales. And adding that Alox version of the Mountaineer could elevate its already premium model into a category of rugged sophistication, offering not only enhanced durability and grip, but also that aesthetic appeal that resonates with collectors, outdoorsmen, and EDC enthusiasts alike, right? Because such as the Celador scales, that you have here, right? Such as, my Victorinox Explorer, right? With time, it gets dull, and when you have that well-used look, which there's nothing per se wrong with that, but there's something that really calls attention to the kind of nice shiny and lustrous kind of Swiss Army knife, right? And when that happens, say something to like one of the Alox versions, it gets almost kind of like a ruggedly handsome look when it has those little kind of light scratches and wear marks on the Alox scales, okay? And beyond the real limits of what is considered to be practical, as we know it, being able to introduce an Alox Mountaineer would be a statement of pure EDC confidence and superb build quality and durability. A piece for Victorinox that would be an absolute, uncontested testament of absolute EDC tool balance. A declaration of well-chosen functionality increased with those timeless metal scales, along with having the extra robust tool set, right, that we were talking about earlier, of the 2-in-1 function can opener and the 3-in-1 flathead screwdriver and wire stripper that would add a bolstered up sense of reliability, right? And so, with all that said, I want to hear some of your thoughts, okay? Which Victorinox Swiss Army knife would you ask to be made an Alox model? Okay, let me know in the comments below. And please, if you enjoy this content of this video that you see here, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like always, I will have all the information of the current Victorinox models featured in this video in the comments section below. So please check them out and let your imagination do the rest of how such a small decision could make a large impact for all EDC users everywhere. My name is Seth from Moose Plaid Mountaineer, and I will see you all in the next video.